There's a moment that almost every growing restaurant operator hits, and nobody warns them about it. You've gone from one location to five, five to 10, 10 to 20, and things are working. You built something real, and then all of a sudden, the technology that got you here starts to fight you, and instead of helping you continue to grow. Reports that used to take 10 minutes now take a half a day. The menu prices that you need for a multi-unit take 3 days to get accomplished. The loyalty program starts to behave differently depending upon which location you're walking into, and your integrations, the ones that the point of sale provider told you were going to be perfect, start to show cracks that you never saw coming. Today, I want to talk to you about what exactly happens and why it happens, when it happens, and what to do about it before it costs you yes and more than you realize. Hello, my name is Julian. I'm the host of the Restaurant Technology Guys podcast, now with over 300 episodes. I'm also the Chief Revenue Officer of CBS North Star, where we built the North Star point of sale solution specific for multi-unit operators. In 30 years in the industry, I've watched hundreds of operators hit this wall. And the frustrating thing is that it's almost all preventable. The tech stack that breaks at 20 units didn't fail overnight. It set warning signs for months, sometimes even years, that were easy to see in hindsight, but in the midst of it, you struggle to see them. So let's walk through the four most common ways I see restaurant tech stacks fail as you continue to scale and what you should be doing as an operator before this happens to you. First thing that we see people struggle with is the idea of your reporting for multi-units stops being a asset to your business and it starts being somebody's full-time job. I've had this conversation more times than I can count. The operator's running 15, 20 units, and they have someone at the corporate office, many times multiple people, that their entire day is spent logging into systems, tracking the data, trying to consolidate, pulling everybody's numbers from yesterday and copying them into a third-party system to assemble some version of a DSR that the ownership can actually read. It is consolidating the CHK chicken sandwich and the chicken sandwich spelled properly and the CH sandwich because they've allowed the operators to get too far into the weeds with what it is that they're doing. And now you need somebody to consolidate that data and report on. Every single morning, the accounting group is working on pulling all of this data, consolidating it, and many of the operators and owners can't get to their data to be able to make better business decisions till much later in the day, if not the following day. That's a huge technological problem. And it's a sign that your POS was not architected for multi-unit operators to be able to see things in a centralized view. A purpose-built system that understands the needs of the store level operator, the regional manager, the district manager, and the corporate office that was built with the security in mind, the consolidation in mind, and the ability to see location by location or region or district by day part, by menu item category without having to consolidate it in a different system is a huge piece that we continue to see multi-unit operators when they get beyond kind of the first couple of locations. If it wasn't designed for that, they struggle. If you manually have a team of people that are assembling reports, looking at yesterday's data and trying to consolidate them so that you can make better decisions, you need to consider that your point of sale may not have been built for this. How long does it take your team? And again, I would ask you to think about this. How long does it take for you to get the data to be able to make better business decisions? Part of why you have a POS is to be able to make those decisions. And if it's taking more than 10 or 15 minutes to get to the data that you're looking for, when you're looking for a daily snapshot, you probably have some challenges there. The second thing we continue to see is that menu changes can't be pushed centrally. You have to send out an email, you have to send out a notice, you have to make phone calls to people, but manually having menus updated by stores is a huge piece. I continue to see that. We talked about it in point number one for reporting, but that lack of consolidation and the ability of having to have multiple operators out there to be able to go do these things is a huge one. One, because they're not trained to do it. Two, because there's no consistency. Three, because ultimately it breaks not only your reporting, but a lot of your integrations as such, because there is no centralized way to do that. When you're only at one or two locations, dialing in, doing your menu change is not that big of a deal. But when you're running 20 stores and having a system that's not built with centralized menu management is a huge deterrent and is a huge hidden cost that many operators don't think about. I've talked to operators who struggle and ultimately they can't even operate the way that their business needs to because it takes them too long. They've got to dial in to too many locations to be able to make a better business decision. The price of chicken just went up because there was a bird flu somewhere and they need to be able to go dial in and they have to go back to the business if they're at 20 locations and log into each of them. So one of two things happens. Either your staff has to spend hours and hours and hours taking away from core business that they need to be doing, or they need to spend extra hours in the middle of the night going and doing this work. It's not just prices, it's modifiers. It's when you run out of something. It's when you've got LTOs going. It's everything that you need to be able to be nimble at two or three locations, not a big problem. But once you get beyond that, having a centralized menu management is going to create the consistency that you need, is going to be a leverage point that you can use to continue to expand so you're not spending time doing manual work, having to do it 10, 15, 20 times. It's a huge piece. And I would encourage all of our listeners out there to think about multi-unit POS that's built for operators that understand scale and can help you to be able to do this is a huge piece. The next time you go to do a menu change, the next time you go to do a pricing change, if it's taking you more than a few minutes to get that deployed to all your locations, I would tell you that you're at risk and something you should be thinking about. The third area that I see once you scale is the idea of loyalty. Loyalty is one of the biggest buzzwords in our industry. And it's not just a piece of tech, but it's the feeling that people get. It's the consistency that they get. It's the idea that they know who the person is that's coming into the door and they can help them. We continue to see tech stacks struggle when you get beyond just a couple locations with loyalty. I see it continue to happen over and over again. One, two locations, not a huge problem. Person gets points, they redeem points, everybody's good. If there's a glitch in the system and you're at two locations, not that big of a deal. I can log back in, go see them, go add their points, go redeem their points. But I actually just had an experience recently where I know because of the world that I live in that the tech stack was disconnected. They're going through a POS change. They hadn't considered it and loyalty wasn't working. Their POS wasn't able to not only accrue the points, but take a reward that our family had received in their app. And so that is a huge piece once you get beyond kind of just a couple locations where you have the ability to make those decisions. Every one of these inconsistencies degrades customer trust. It doesn't allow them to engage with the guests in the ways that you need them to. The staff oftentimes, and in this scenario over the weekend, the staff was frustrated because they're like, loyalty hasn't worked all day and I'm struggling with it. I've talked about this over and over and over again. One of my most recent episodes, we talked about integration failures and how loyalty at the guest experience, whether that's online or at a kiosk, showed rewards that they hadn't earned because they were rewards that were in the back end. Understanding that once you get beyond just a few locations, making sure that you've got the loyalty wrapped up that can be able to expand across the entire chain is a huge piece of it. At CBS North Star, one of the things that we focus on from a multi-unit point of sale perspective is ensuring that all of the integrations behave consistently across the entire guest ordering platform, from online ordering to the POS to kiosk to third party, because again, your guests don't really care what tech stack you have. They don't care what loyalty provider you have. They just know that they received an offer in their email or in a push notification, and they want to be able to redeem that when they choose to engage with your brand. And so making sure that your loyalty package is built for scale, or that your point of sale is built to understand that that chicken sandwich is the same chicken sandwich from point number two, and that it can be redeemed is huge. And you don't have to have a ton of manual integrations. The last piece that I would say is integrations that just work. We continue to, there was a previous episode that I talked about that the technical integrations and ensuring that not all integrations are created equal is a huge piece of understanding. It is a huge hidden cost when integrations fail. Talked about it just earlier on the kiosk and loyalty platform, but it's across the board from accounting to labor management. The integrations, when you get to scale, are a huge piece of not only operational costs, but it is a piece of what it is that you need to do. When you're operating one or two locations and you might have a DoorDash tablet there and you're standing, you're slow, you're just kind of building the business, you can function without a kitchen video system. You can function with a tablet for third-party delivery. You can function because you're in the stores often. You know what's going on. You don't need a consolidated data warehouse. You don't need a consolidated inventory management platform. You don't need integrations to where 86 beef and 86 burger patties, and now at 86 is it online, and at 86 is it on your DoorDash. Knowing those integrations and doing them well, again, will help you continue to grow. So you're not having to think about those things. As you continue to scale and get beyond one or two locations and add ordering modes, when you add different pieces of tech, you need to make sure that those integrations are tightly tied in so that not only are your guests not frustrated, but your operators are not frustrated. And at the end of the day, the last thing that you want your operators to be doing is calling their POS company, then calling their online ordering company, then calling the loyalty company, and trying to figure out how to solve this problem, because ultimately it's hurting the guests. So ensuring that you have the right integrations, that the integrations and that there's a business partnership between the two different parties, that they understand how they're going to do these tech integrations and that they continue to keep up when the POS has new features and new releases, that the third-party integrations have been tested to ensure that they don't break. All big pieces that when you get out to 20 locations, you don't have time to be thinking about this. Because again, technology never fails on a Tuesday at 2 o'clock when everybody's in the office. Technology fails when the restaurant is full. It's 7 o'clock on a Saturday night. And so ensuring that you can not only meet the guests' expectations, but your staff's expectations is critical. So now we've talked through the four most common things that we continue to see when people get beyond just a couple locations out to that 20 locations. What do you do now? I've walked you through the four different ways that you need to be thinking about these things. But the first thing I would encourage all of us to do is to audit where you're at. Where are you? We've talked about some of the problems. Are reports giving you a challenge? Are menu changes being a problem? Are we continuing to struggle with guest experience? Is our feedback coming back that says loyalty breaks all the time? I would encourage everyone to do an audit. Where are they? Then second is to stop thinking about the tech stack as a individual vendor relationships, but is a operating system that you need to be able to operate your business. Make sure that you're evaluating each of them in their own and then talking to the different vendors to make sure that they are working together. The third thing I would encourage you is to partner with people that understand your business. Go look at the partnerships you've had and say, hey, are these people in it to help me to make my business better? When I come to them with these challenges, are they coming back to you with potential solutions, potential partnerships, potential ways to solve this problem when you get beyond just a couple of stores? At CVS North Star, we've spent 30 years building point of sale for multi-units, centralized management, centralized reporting, deep integration partnerships, support to make sure that you're getting taken care of are some of the things that make us who we are. We oftentimes will take these phone calls from existing clients and potential clients and talk to them about the different things that they need to be able to do. I would encourage every one of you guys to think about this well before you get beyond your second location, to understand that having the right tech stack is going to help you scale. You're not going to have to think about the technology that's there. It can grow with you. If you are a multi-unit operator and any of these ideas sound familiar, please reach out to me. Go to cvsnorthstar.com, put in a lead form, and we will love to talk to you a little bit about how we may be able to help you solve this and many of the other challenges. If there are things that you think I missed that people need to be thinking about when they get beyond their first couple of locations, put them down in the comments. If you haven't already subscribed to the show, please do so and make it a great day.